Good evening, everybody. We'll call our meeting to order, and we'll begin with a moment of silence. Let's stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next item is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move approve the agenda.
Do we have a second? Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. All right, motion is carried. Now we'll have our conflict of interest statements.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the rules and procedures adopted by this board in section 153(844) of the North Carolina General Statute, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board, unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict, Mr. Chairman.
No conflict.
No conflict, Broadnax Taylor.
No conflict. We'll now have citizens' comments.
Citizens, for those of you who have signed up to speak, when you're recognized, please approach the podium. Your comments will be limited to 5 minutes maximum. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you'll receive a response from the board or county staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. And pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for citizens' comments on county business. This time is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Commissioners, I have 3 citizens who signed up, the first being Ms. Sylvia Vincent.
Okay. Before we start that, I would like to make one comment. Commissioner Kedra Whitaker is on her way. She's been caught in traffic, so she will join us when she can. And now we'll proceed on. Yes. Good evening.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners and citizens tonight. At the last meeting, which was June the 1st, there was a public hearing on Project Opal, and I asked some questions about the Project Opal. I asked some questions about Project Opal while I was here, and I never did get an answer from anyone that was on the panel last month. Okay, I asked the question, is there a plan in place with HCC to train prospective employees? Nobody answered. Nobody said yes or no, I don't know, or anything. And I would like to know, what is your plan with HCC if they are to train people to work for the gas separating plant? And I also asked, how will those few tax dollars that you're going to be getting now, how are they going to be used, such as the $28,000 that I heard mentioned? Also, since you're bringing more noise to the citizens who live on Lebanon Church Road and the adjoining area roads, have you considered revising the noise ordinance? Because you've heard from them about the noise that InViva brings to them and how much turmoil it has brought to them. But hopefully now that another noisemaker is coming, that you have something that's going to help them out. to help them feel more comfortable living in the neighborhood. And I hope that you hear me rather than looking down tonight, because it's a very serious thing that when people live in areas and they have to deal with noise 24 hours of the day. Another question I asked last month, at the last meeting, I asked about the protocol for the old high school, and I didn't get an answer there. Also, I asked about the solar panels that were removed on Lebanon Church Road, and I told you that the posts were still there, and I didn't hear anything from that. Okay, that's what I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Joyce Buffalo.
Scott said he emailed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, and members of the public. My name is Joyce Burnett Edwards Buffalo, and I was employed by the county from August 21st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026 as Aging Coordinator, part-time. Prior to my employment, I also had the privilege of serving this county as a commissioner. Throughout my employment, I took great pride in serving the older adults, families, and citizens of this community. First, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the opportunity to serve, working alongside older adults and supporting the operations of the Senior Center was more than a job. It was a commitment to improving the quality of life for some of our most vulnerable residents. I come before you this evening seeking understanding, transparency, and answers to questions that I believe are important not only to former employees, but also to the tax-paying older residents of this county. As someone who has served both as a commissioner and as a county employee, I understand that governing requires difficult decisions. I also understand the responsibility of being a good steward of taxpayers' dollars. It is because of that understanding that I am still struggling to reconcile certain recent decisions that have recently been made. Specifically, I am seeking clarification regarding the decision to reduce staffing while simultaneously increasing expenditures related to meal services. It is my understanding that the county is considering paying approximately $42,000 more for meal delivery services to the homebound older adults. I respectfully ask for an explanation of the rationale behind reducing personnel, all the while increasing the overall expenditures for the program, specifically when the positions being eliminated, already directly support services and operations that benefit our senior population. Additionally, I would like to better understand the procurement process involved in selecting a meal vendor. My understanding has always been that the purpose of a competitive bidding process is to ensure that quality services are provided while obtaining the most cost-effective pricing available for taxpayers. If a formal bidding process was not utilized, I would appreciate understanding the reasoning behind that decision and how it was determined to be in the best interest of the county and the older adults being served. For the record, the position I held, supported the day-to-day operations of the Senior Center, including coordinating activities, programs, and services that promoted engagement, wellness, and quality of life for older adults. These services are often just as important as the meals themselves because they help combat isolation, encourage participation, and connect seniors with resources. I would also like to recognize the tremendous progress that has been made at the Senior Center over the years.
1 minute.
The Senior Center has come a long way. Through the dedication of staff, volunteers, community partners, and the support of county leadership, programs have expanded, participation has increased, and older adults have benefited from a variety of services and opportunities that enhance their well-being and independence. My concern is that reducing staff will reverse that progress. The success of a senior center is not measured solely by the number of meals served. It is also measured by the relationship built, programs offered, activities coordinated, outreach conducted, and support provided to older adults and their families. Staff play a critical role in making those services possible. When staffing levels are reduced, the ability to maintain and grow these services will be significantly impacted. These reductions will take the senior center backwards rather than forward, limiting its capacity to continue providing the level of service our older adults deserve.
Your time is up.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah Williams.
Good afternoon. County Board of Commissioners, attorney, county manager and staff, Ms. Gatling. My name is Deborah Williams, and I am a volunteer of the Home Delivered Meal Program since 2022. I've enjoyed every minute giving of my time and my resources to Homebound in Rich Square. I heard some disturbing news that I request an in-person clarification from County Manager Julian Phillips regarding the dismissal of 2 employees and a change in the program beginning July 1, 2026. Please, County Manager Phillips, I know you can't answer me tonight, but give me a few dates of your availability to clarify this action that allegedly will take place. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all? Yes, sir. Okay. Now we'll have the proposed budget.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
You have before you the 2020 fiscal 2027 annual budget ordinance. It's for a total of $46,591,416. This budget was prepared in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 159 and 11. It is a balanced budget. All of the changes that was requested since the original budget workshop, I believe back in April, all those things that we've discussed are incorporated in this ordinance. So I submitted to you on this evening for your vote to adopt the budget with any adjustments that you might see fit on this evening. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, anyone got any comments or
Yes.
changes of message?
Thank you, Mr. Phillips, and thank you so much for you and the team's work on the budget. Just a couple of clarifying things for me. You know, earlier, when we were doing the presentations, requested, as you know, state workers did not get a raise and still have not received a raise. Speaking of our teachers, our administrators for the school system, and any state worker that resides in Northampton County. One of the things that we were looking at was showing appreciation for all the hard work that they do, as we see that they're on the rise of trying to increase the test scores here, but just like across this great state, no one has received a raise. our local government, however, we received a raise. And so in this budget, we were looking at a bonus for our teachers. Was that inputted in this budget? Input?
Yes, the operating expense was increased for the amount that the school requested. It's
So we increased the operating
$89,000.
expense. Now, would that be given in this fiscal year, or is that in the upcoming?
For us, it will be given in July, so that will be in the next fiscal year in this
Yes.
budget. But the school is requesting that payout happen for them by or before June 30th, so that the teachers can get it in this fiscal year. The way that works is they'll make that payout, they'll use one of their fund balances to make that payment, and then when we reimburse them in the second week of July, they'll take that monies and offset their fund balance.
Right, I really appreciate that, Dr. Phillips, because as you know, it was stated that we have a budget, but we don't in North Carolina still.
Right.
And so that's greatly appreciated because those educators are working tirelessly in Northampton County to try to help our students. Also looking at where we are, when I look at where the EMS is, we saw previous slides where the rankings were there, but across, I've done research, some of those counties are giving EMS even more raises come July the 1st. And when you look at where we prepared this budget, where would our EMS workers be in contrast to, let's say, the counties that we did a crosswalk with?
Right, and then the highest paid county on that analysis we did was Halifax. So Halifax, if they give that 5% increase, we look at the two positions that we compare to Halifax, which is our paramedics and our EMTs. That would mean if we want to keep pace with that additional 5%, that we would recommend an additional 74 cents an hour for the paramedics over and above what we've already put in this budget, and an additional $1.02 for EMTs to keep pace so that we don't fall behind. I know that Halifax has a COLA adjustment of 2%, I believe, budgeted for next year, and we also have a 2% in January budgeted.
And so with that 2% that we're budgeting, and then with a increase to put us with other counties, not saying that we will be equal to, but I'm saying equal to or above with the 5% for our EMS workers.
We would need an additional $102,000 in this, to add to this year's budget.
Right, so when you look at priority-based budgeting, which is I'm a big fan of, we have to take care of Northampton. And when you look at that piece, I believe that's something that we should look at in this budget. Really appreciate that.
Mr. Phillips, I guess my question is with the property tax. Let's see here. The current property tax rate will remain stable at 0.825 per $100.
That's correct, 82.5 cents. Yes.
Okay, my question is, who came up with that number, sir?
That was the number from last year, so we just made that number consistent with what was approved on last year.
Okay, when you said "we," because I know that it is based on the commissioners.
That's correct.
Commissioners set the tax rate, and I don't remember being involved in any meeting with these commissioners on this board talking about the tax rate or setting the tax rate this year. Maybe I missed the meeting.
It was discussed last year when we did the last budget revision.
Okay.
We took that last reduction, it was submitted to you all, and it's just a recommendation. So you all had to adopt the budget, which it was adopted, which included that 82.5 cent.
But it's my understanding that it's
always part
done,
of the budget.
but it's usually done year from year, part of the budget process, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am, and it was presented with the first budget proposal. That was part of it based on that tax rate. If we wanted to change, we could always do that at any given time.
Okay, maybe I missed something because I didn't hear that discussion.
Yeah, it's always
hear that
part of the
discussion.
budget proposal, that is based on that tax rate.
But if that was done, did our citizens hear that discussion?
It's in the budget message for the fiscal year that was incorporated. It's, if anyone can see this, it's on the, it's an actual budget message that we give out every year, and it highlights all of the material impacts of the budget. Property tax is always going to be included because that's significant for our county. So we state what the current rate is, and if I'm suggesting a reduction or to keep it flat or increase it, it'll be in the budget message. Along with every other change that's being recommended, knowing that those are just recommendations. The commissioners, the governing body, you all adopt the budget means that you put your stamp of approval for all these recommendations that are made at the end of the day.
What I'm saying is, I don't remember our citizens this year being part of an active discussion about the property tax rate here in Northampton County. That was just my question.
It's not like a public meeting.
It usually, in most counties, it is. But I'm seeing that it's not, maybe that's something we can do next year. As part of the budget process, a discussion about the property tax rate is usually discussed with the citizens. They're brought in as part of the discussions when the commissioners do that.
And it
We
was
did have a
mentioned.
public hearing on the budget for the citizens.
I'm saying, yes, sir, we did do that, but property taxes were not a big part of that discussion.
And just for information also, we are lower than Hertford and Bertie and Edgecombe. Halifax is lower than us, but we have a lower rate than most of our neighboring counties.
That's good, but I'm saying that our citizens did not have a lot to input with that,
They had
a
an
lot of dialogue
opportunity.
with that.
They had an opportunity.
Yes, they had an opportunity, but they didn't have a lot of say or opportunity to dialogue with us. Maybe that's something next year we can do.
Maybe I'm not saying it right, but there was a public hearing.
Yes, sir, there was.
Citizens are allowed to come up just like on tonight. And
Yes,
if
sir.
they want to talk about anything within the budget, they can bring those items up. So we did give them that opportunity.
They had an opportunity, yes, Mr. Phillips, but I'm saying the property tax was not a big discussion in that part of the budget meeting that we did. They didn't get, the citizens didn't come up here and we didn't talk about property tax rates.
We didn't make a big issue.
We didn't
out
make a big deal out of it. Right, you're right, Chairman Martin, we did not.
it, you know, but
We didn't. Property tax rates, we did not make a big deal out of it.
I think if you look back at the message, I always include what our current rate is and where we rank within the 100 counties.
Okay, good, but I'm still saying.
I understand.
okay. Any other comments or suggestions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, tax reevaluation, currently, Dr. Phillips, Northampton County, we're doing that every 8 years right now.
That's correct.
Have you researched what would that look like if we did it in 4 years? The reason I'm asking is because, again, you know, we've had a practice of doing a 0.5% decrease in taxes. But when it comes to a tax reevaluation year, after 8 years, you cut a little bit. But now when you sit there and say, what is my property tax 8 years from that date, it's boom, it skyrockets because your property value of your house goes up, unlike a vehicle that decreases. So buy a house today, 200,000, tax reval season, and it's only 6 years away now, comes again, what is that house going to be worth?
That's correct. Basically, we started that. I have staff looking into what it would take to actually get that done, moving from 8 years to 4 years. And you can basically say you're going to double the cost. So if it costs us about $500,000 over the 8 years, it'll be about $1 million to do 500,000 over the first, instead of 8 years, over 4 years. So we'll have to bump up our accrual rate. We're accruing $50,000 a year now, so we'll have to bump that up to $100,000 per year.
Okay.
But I'm looking for offsets, and I'm waiting for staff to come back. There's some just suggestions been thrown out there, but it's not concrete yet. But there's some suggestions that we can use to offset some of that cost. So yes, we are looking into it.
Thank you. And in this budget also, when we look at the rising cost of healthcare, is it still 80-20?
That's correct. We had the opportunity to talk with the EMS staff this morning, and that's one thing that they said they appreciated as far as one of the benefits that we still pay for the employees. So they were most
Great.
appreciative about that.
Understood. Thank you. And we definitely appreciate it for the work they do.
Any other comments or recommendations?
I'll ask Mr. Phillips on fire departments. When we look across the county, our volunteer fire departments, we stabilize that, what we contribute to them?
I believe the last time we bumped that up, I went from $500 to $8,000.
Yeah, because we had a presentation on how much the protective gear cost. And so I just wanted to make sure, because I did not clearly see that outline. So I appreciate that. And then we took the animal shelter out, correct?
We have the animal shelter budgeted for next year, capital project, yes. Still
Was that
the
that
same.
350K?
Yes.
Okay.
Page.
250 or
I see it now, the 350, right?
350, okay.
Yeah. And we have 170 for asphalt and HVAC.
Right. Yes.
Then we have water tower and SCADA improvements.
And on the opioid funds, Dr. Phillips, that increase, that 93K, what is the time frame that we have to spend that? I enjoyed being on the call with Ms. Phillips and the team, Ms. Vick and the team the other day. You were on that call as well. What is our time frame for that 93K? I mean, I see Ms. Vick is here.
There is no limitation as far as how we spend, as long as we come up with a budget. And if, we spend to that budget, or if we find that there's other activities or services that we may engage in throughout the year, we can do a budget amendment, just like our regular budget. I think the year is it 2031? 2039, thank you.
The time frame is 2039? Okay, that's what I was looking for, the time frame. Thank you, Ms. Vick. Okay. I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Does anyone want to make any recommendations to change anything, or can we have a motion to approve it as is, or?
I just want to say again, Mr. Chairman, the priority base is safety and security. When you look at, because we had to go into funds and do 150K to help our townships this past year. And so when you look at priority base, we always know it's safety and education. Those are the top two priorities. And then also in that same vein, taking care of the people that work here in Northampton County. And so when I look across the board, so by adopting this budget this evening, we do have room to priority base the money to take care of the people that are on the front lines every day. And simply what I mean by that, if Joe Jenkins' company, we were funding them at X amount, let's say 200,000, but the priority is to take care of safety and security, we can decrease that to make sure that, for example, EMS received the money, the deputies received the money, DSS received the funding of all the people that work in this county.
That's right.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to amend that item?
Is that, do we need to do that, Mr. Chairman, or do we just make a motion to approve the budget with amendments for priority-based budgeting? Because the money is not going to change. I'm not saying add anything else to the budget. Just a clarity question.
Scott, I'm not sure about that myself from a legal point of view.
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Keller, we're not talking about changing the figures of the 46 million plus, but we have that wherewithal to priority base the budget that we approve to put it in the columns that are needed. I'm sorry.
Defer to the
I-
finance officer on that.
Okay.
So any of the numbers that change on this ordinance by North Carolina General Statute, if these change, then I have to bring a budget amendment before the board. So if we do amend, I can come back before you after this is adopted to change those figures to whatever lines we move those from.
I'm clear.
Okay.
I have a question. Will the reduction of staff change the budget in any way
The reduction in,
of staff? Does that change the budget in any way?
it's already incorporated into these numbers.
Ms. Buffalo spoke tonight about being let go. So her reduction is already in here.
Correct.
There are some other people that have been let go as well.
That will be.
Are there any more folk out there being let go we don't know
Everyone
about?
that we discussed at the strategic plan. No one over and above what we haven't already discussed. We had our strategic planning meeting, I believe it was in February.
Did we have a specific number we spoke of that we would be letting go in our county?
We identified the folks that were going to be released pending the changes in the operations. So there were 2 in the agent department.
Well, can we get a motion to approve the budget on a priority-based system?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the budget on a priority-based budget system so that we can prioritize Northamptonians.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Okay. Motion is carried 4-1. All right, next item on the agenda is the planning and zoning, Harmony Towers Gateway. So we need to go into excuse me, revised aging contract, excuse me, I skipped one. My mistake. Yep. Revised contract for aging department meals.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Tonight, the Aging Department presents for your consideration the food service vendor contract for fiscal year 2026 through 2027, which will be effective from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 27. This contract supports the continued operations of our senior nutrition program by providing meals for both congregate meal sites and home-delivered meal participants. The proposed agreement is similar to contracts approved in previous years, with one notable addition, a delivery component for home-delivered and congregate meals. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the Aging Department respectfully requests the board's approval of the contract.
Anyone have any questions?
This is through June, through 2028, 2028.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, I move approval of the contract for, presented by Swenson for the aging department.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We just came back in. Okay. We're voting on the approval of the Mills contract. All in favor? Do what? Okay. Are you in favor? Okay. All right. Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, now, planning and zoning. Okay. So we will now go into a public hearing for this planning and zoning matter.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening, James.
Planning Board received a special use permit application for a communication tower located at parcel 0103750 on Bly Road in Gettysburg. This communication tower is about the parcel is a little over 28 acres. It does meet the requirements of our zoning ordinance for special use in the AR district. The height and the separation requirements from property line do meet the requirements, and it does fall within the comprehensive plan. For the county. You guys have any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
What is the height of the tower? I know it gives the elevation on here, but
355 feet.
so that is the actual height of the tower. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, since this is public hearing, let's see.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, if it may please you, my name is David Ray. I'm representing the applicant Harmony Towers Gateway LLC at this quasi-judicial hearing. And tonight we have a presentation prepared for you
Okay.
folks. I will try not to be too lengthy. There's some slides that I think will give you a better visual of the proposed tower project. With me as part of the applicant team tonight, I have Mr. Eric Dahl, who is the project manager. Mr. Dahl has worked from the beginning to locate the site, to work on all of the engineering and location data, and as well with county staff to make sure that everything complies with ordinance. I also have with me Mr. Jonathan Miles from J.C. Morgan Company. He is a North Carolina certified appraiser. And Mr. Miles tonight is for a few minutes going to talk on the issue of whether this proposed tower site would have any adverse negative impact on surrounding properties. And not trying to make this too formal or fancy, but in a quasi-judicial proceeding, we do need to get some things into the record and make sure that we give you folks what you need to make a decision.
Okay.
I had not previously spoken with Mr. McKellar, but I think one of my law partners did. But just real quick on the North Carolina statutes on these, in order to give testimony and participate in a quasi-judicial hearing, statutes require a party to have standing. And the parties by statute that have standing are the owner of the property where the proposed project is going to go, or someone who has a contract to purchase that property, or a leasehold interest in the property. Another party with standing, of course, is the applicant, Harmony Towers. The county would have standing. Anyone else that wants to come up and present testimony must have standing and would have to show that they will suffer some sort of special damages. And again, I'm quoting from the statute as a result of this. And what I will tell the board is that if there are parties here tonight that we believe do not have standing, I will simply note my objection for the record, and I know we have a chance for rebuttal later. But again, just want to make sure that we have everything on the record. One other issue I wanted to talk to you about, a threshold issue on the testimony you hear tonight. By statute, it's got to be competent, material, and substantial evidence. And what that means is that's something more than speculation or just mere opinion. For instance, we will have that tonight with our certified appraiser here. And certain topics can only be testified to by experts. One of those is whether there's an impact on adjoining properties, or if a project creates traffic that could be detrimental to the public. I would tell the board we're not going to have a traffic issue on this proposed project, but we will have some testimony about valuation and its impact. Before I get into my slide presentation, I hope I'm getting in my things. Mr. McAllister, is that right? I want to thank him for his presentation, for his work with the applicant to answer questions and make sure that we get this thing right before we bring it to you folks. And I would just point out his, I don't know if it's in the materials. Let's see, Corey, let me see if I can get our presentation up here. Okay, I'm not sure his letter is in the materials, but he, you folks may have it, but it was dated April 27th, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but Mr. McAllister said that the tower is permitted as a special use in the AR district, and that it meets, the proposed project meets the zoning requirements in the ordinance, and that the planning board heard this presentation or one similar to it a few months back, approved the special use as permitted, and I believe have recommended to this board that it approve the special use and issue the permit. Mr. McAllister's letter also mentioned that not only does it comply with the ordinance, but it also falls within the scope of and is consistent with your comprehensive land use plan. So I wanted to make sure that that was put in the record as well. If I could direct your attention, I guess there are televisions where you folks can see them. We have a short slide presentation that I'm going to kind of go through reasonably quickly. And of course, we'll answer any questions when the time comes that you may have. The cover page is a picture of a sample wireless communication tower project, what it looks like. We'll talk more about that in the subsequent slides. The second slide is aerial photo, and you can see the parcel with the star on it. That's where the proposed wireless communication tower project will be located. It's off of Blythe Road. And I believe the parcel consists of 28 acres. This slide shows the site plan, and what it shows is the area that's 100 feet by 100 feet that will be leased. The tower itself and the associated equipment to operate the tower are located in a 50 by 50, what I'll call equipment compound that you can see there in the middle of the site plan. And the tower is kind of located right in the middle of it. That compound will be surrounded on all sides by a 6-foot tall chain link fence, which will also have barbed wire on top of that. It will be accessible by a 12-foot wide security gate. That gate will also be 6 feet in height with barbed wire on top of that. Will only be accessible by authorized personnel, folks who may go to conduct monthly maintenance. The next slide that I've pulled up is an overlay of the site plan onto an aerial. And this shows a little bit more detail. You can see I-95 there on the left-hand side of the parcel. You can see the access that's going to come off of Blythe Road to reach the tower site. You will also see the setback requirements from the adjoining property lines on there. And I can't read it from here, but it's in excess of 200, or it's 285 feet or more from the adjoining property lines. And as Mr. McAllister said, this site complies with that. And I'm not sure what other details it shows, but I think that gives you an idea of what it looks like overlaid on an aerial view of the property. This slide, members of council, focuses more on the access and utility easement. It's going to be 30 feet in width. That's going to run down to the parcel and provide an access point to the equipment compound I mentioned to you earlier. 12 feet of that 30-foot easement is going to be improved with a gravel or marl surface, whatever would be required by ordinance and would support the load of any kind of emergency vehicles that may have to access the property. And finally, we have a rendering of what the tower is like. I think, Mr. Chair, you asked, it's proposed to be 355 feet. It will have, as you can see from this rendering, safety lighting on 2 points. It will comply with all lighting and safety requirements of the FAA. You can also see that it's going to be anchored with guide wires. And currently, when it's built, Verizon would have an antenna located on it. And it will be designed where perhaps it can co-locate or have other antenna on the tower in the future. If it please the commissioners, at this point, I'd like to step aside for a moment and let Mr. Miles speak with you about the valuation and the impact issue. And then I would come back and share a few more slides with you, and we would wrap up our presentation.
Mr. Ray, I don't know if you want to be sworn in, but certainly your witnesses need to be sworn.
Mr. McKellar, we do it both ways. I'm happy to be sworn in. Certainly do need the witnesses as an officer of the court. I'll kind of defer to
I was
whatever.
just intending to swear in your witnesses.
Okay, that would be terrific then. Yes, sir. And if I may, I'm going to have Mr. Dahl be sworn in as well in case there are questions asked of him.
Okay.
Do they need to come forward or raise the hand?
Stand and raise your hand. You can do it.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, all right. He doesn't have to be as the presenter. Yeah. The witnesses have to be.
Hey, good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Hey, I'm Jonathan Miles. I'm a licensed certified general appraiser in North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Florida. I hold the MAI designation with the Appraisal Institute, the SRA designation with the Appraisal Institute. I also have the right-of-way AC designation with the International Right-of-Way Association. I have over 35 years experience in real estate and valuation. Been actively appraising and reviewing appraisals for that long with various institutions. I've worked for various companies over the years. I'm here today representing J.C. Morgan and Company. We're a commercial and residential firm based out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and we appraise commercial properties and residential properties throughout eastern North Carolina. We were recently hired by the applicant to perform a research and analysis to see what impact, if any, the proposed antenna project would have on property values either adjacent to or adjoining the cell tower. Our analysis primarily relied on the paired sales approach, which in that methodology, we're looking at otherwise similar sales of residential homes to look at one feature that caused buyers to probably pay less for the house. Here, in this instance, we looked at homes that were adjacent to or adjoining cell towers and compared those to home sales that were further out from the cell tower. Based on our research, we could not find any evidence that there was significant value decline if the homes were proximal to the cell tower. We also looked at commercial commercial leases, comparing lease rates of commercial properties that were adjoining or near a cell tower to commercial leases that were further away from the cell tower. Our research did not show any impact on value or lease rates at that time. That is, so I will say that our analysis did look at sales from Cumberland, Carteret, Craven, Nash, I believe, oh gosh, I had it written down, Wake County and New Hanover County. We did not find any paired sales in Northampton County to utilize, but based on our evidence and looking at sales and research in eastern North Carolina, we feel confident that there would be no impact on value for the surrounding properties adjoining this cell tower. Any questions?
Anyone have questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Commissioners, if I have copies of the opinion letter he was referencing. I think it may be in your materials, but if you don't have them, we can provide those to you because we want to certainly include that as part of the record. At this point, I guess what I might say is if the commissioners want me to continue and summarize and go over the requirements of the ordinance and why we meet them, happy to do that now. Or if you would rather see whether there is going to be anyone withstanding who wants to testify or speak adverse to the project. I'm not sure how you folks want to handle that. We will do whatever is your pleasure.
Do you have any others that want to speak in favor of it?
No, sir, it would just be us.
Okay.
That's
All
correct.
right. If not, I think it's time to hear if there are any in opposition that have standing.
What I would note before I step down, just on the standing issue, I do understand, I think there's a gentleman here maybe representing another tower company that leases and has a cell tower here in the county. And I would go ahead and note my objection to that company standing to participate in this hearing today, and would ask to be heard on that when the time is appropriate. Thank you.
Okay. And anyone who comes forward, we ask that you state your name, your address, and if you do represent any other company.
I think first, ask if there are any speakers, additional speakers in support who are not with
Yeah.
them.
Are there any additional speakers in support besides from Harmony Towers?
No, sir, just I will come back and
Okay.
close.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Okay. Is there anyone withstanding that would like to come forward to speak in opposition? Is there,
This is a public hearing, so everyone's entitled to speak.
Okay.
And I don't
Yeah.
think his
Yeah.
objection to standing is noted, so
okay,
whatever order you want.
all right. If he's just gonna ask a question, does he need to be
This is
sworn in?
public comments. This
Okay.
isn't a discussion
Okay,
back and
all
forth.
right.
It's a public hearing, okay. My name is Richie Harding,
Mhm.
yes. First of all, what is the tower, the purpose of the tower?
So I think the correct way, so a public hearing, this is a notice public hearing where public commentary is offered and your public comments are noted. The applicant will have a chance after you speak, Mr. Harding, and any others who are for or against the project. The applicant will be afforded a time to come back and provide a rebuttal or response. So my suggestion would be that would be an appropriate time if the applicant chooses to respond to your questions
Okay, so
on the record.
the next question I have is, depending on the use of this tower, whatever it may be, would it cause any interference with the daily lifestyle of people that live in the area, whether it is mobile, Wi-Fi, things of that nature? And the last question that I would have is, when was this public hearing noticed?
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Ruby Vincent Ward. I would like to know, who is this tower going to benefit? What service area would it benefit? What is it costing? And service area would it benefit? Because as you know, I'm from Lake Gaston. And I don't know the purpose of it and if it will benefit what area, and if it will, could we consider a tower in Lake Gaston area? Because service up there is bad. We have Spectrum up there, but we still need a tower up there. Thank you.
Any others?
Good evening, board. My name is Michael Bowen. My address should be noted on the sheet, 1526 East Franklin Street, Chapel Hill. I am a land use and local government attorney hired by a corporation called SBA Communications. They're a corporation that occupies the same market, I believe, as the applicant. And I'm here speaking in opposition to the special use application that's been submitted here. So just by way of background, SBA has a tower, my client has a tower approximately 12 to 1,300 feet away. It's a very similar guide tower. It's 350 feet tall. And it is, again, just short of a quarter-mile away from this current tower proposal. I have a few remarks. Some may require standing, most do not. We can address those when the time comes. For now, I've got a few materials I would like to hand up to the board if you'll receive them, if I may.
Okay, yes, you can approach.
I would like to object until we determine if they're standing. I have no idea what these materials are. So I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
I'd still, and Mr. McKellar, if you think at some point we should address this standing issue before he starts presenting evidence and continuing on.
I think that he hasn't been sworn. We haven't received his documentation in advance.
Don't allow him into that.
I think you just allow him to speak.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll allow you to speak, but not distribute the documents since we didn't see them in advance.
I'm sorry?
We'll allow you to speak, but not distribute any documents since we had not received them in advance.
Okay. So I have three main points I would like to touch on just briefly here this evening. Two are substantive and one I believe might be procedural. The first one is a term in the industry called co-location, and it's as simple as when you already have a tower up it makes sense to put multiple tenants on one tower rather than building a new tower for every single tenant. My client, SBA Corporation Communications, has a tower in the area that's currently hosting cellular service space for, I believe it's T-Mobile. And my understanding, according to the applicant's packet, is that this tower going up would host space for Verizon. My client has room on their tower for Verizon to co-locate all of the equipment so that we don't need the unnecessary proliferation of these towers. My understanding is this board, and correct me if I'm wrong, this board is interested in preserving the rural and agricultural character of Northampton County. And to be frank, if this application was going through Mecklenburg County, I don't think anybody would bat an eye. I think in Northampton County, this would alter the horizon. You're looking at a 355-foot tower. Driving in today, I was noticing the tree canopy. I estimated those trees to be about.
Excuse me, I'm going to object again. He is testifying as to things about impact on property, the harmony with existing uses. You know, I think we've got a real standing issue here.
Yeah.
And
What's your opinion? Okay. All right, we will note your objection and proceed.
Thank you. I would like to just put on the record the preservation of rural characters drawn from the comprehensive plan here. It's not my personal testimony. So my understanding is maybe in Mecklenburg County, this would go through without anybody batting an eye. In Northampton County, we might be looking at permanently altering the horizon here. The tower, 355 feet, I believe would be about, I did some calculator math in my head on the drive-in. I think it would be about 4 to 5 times taller than the tree canopy in the area. So that's kind of the scale of what you're looking at here. And I would like to mention state statute specifically favors co-location, and this board is allowed to consider state law even though it's not one of the SUP factors or elements. State statute says that this board, if it chooses, can require applicants to produce evidence showing that no pre-existing tower can reasonably be used for the proposed purpose here. And then it also says that counties can require information necessary to determine whether co-location on existing wireless support structures is already reasonably feasible. I've got that statute if anybody would like it. But the idea is that this board can require information from the applicant, asking them to prove that their proposal can't already be suited by a pre-existing tower in the area. Moreover, SBA has run an analysis and they've determined that they can increase the height of their tower to 355 feet. Right now, it's only about 300 feet. They think that if Verizon needs the extra 55 feet, they are able to and can provide the additional 55 feet.
excuse me, going to object again. We're now almost getting into engineering type testimony about what they could do with their tower. Note that for the record, please.
All right, noted.
That was my first point, which is co-location. I believe it's supported under comprehensive plan and state statute. My second point is there might be a buffer requirement. I was trying to parse through the zoning ordinance here, and it seemed to me that section I-10, I don't mean to put Mr. McAllister on the spot here. It seemed to me that the zoning ordinance requires buffer zones whenever a non-residential use, I would posit that a tower like this is not residential, is established next to a different zoning district. So here the zoning district is agricultural residential, and I believe that that is a different use than a tower. So I believe a buffer should be required. And if a buffer is required, that should have been noted on the site plan as it was presented in the initial application. I did not see a buffer drawn into the site plan. And then the question of how much of a buffer is required depends on the intensity of the uses next to each other. I was going through the zoning ordinance. I think this is only permitted in a heavy industrial zone, when heavy industrial use is next to a residential use, that requires a 200-foot buffer with neighboring properties. Again, if Mr. McAllister knows anything more about this, I would invite him to chime in. That's just my read of y'all's zoning ordinance. My last note is procedural. Commonly, you see applicants that are required to certify they've met public notice requirements. And I've gotten all the application materials. I haven't seen where the public notice requirements were attempted or met. And this is an invitation. If they have met those, I would like to hear about it. It just wasn't in the application that I could tell. My understanding also is in 2020, the county imposed a new notice requirement for the planning board meeting, which is different from this meeting. And I'm not sure that the applicant met those requirements at all.
Going to
It
object to the
requires,
speculation again.
Okay.
and I would invite the applicant to prove tonight that they did meet the notice requirements. So the planning board notice requirement is mail sent to all owners within 200 feet of the property. So in sum, I just had these three main things. Co-location, I don't think you need one tower per cell carrier, and it's more efficient and I think better for the rural character of the county to have one cell tower in the area that co-locates the multiple service providers. Second is, I believe a buffer may be required here, and that wasn't noted in the initial application. And third was a possible notice issue. And I really appreciate your time, and I do have some handouts if you would be interested in seeing those.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me address some of the comments if, so the AR district, number 3 under special use, radio, television, microwave towers, relay stations, offices, studios, in conjunction with these. These use may be permitted as a special use provided that all the buildings and towers shall meet the minimum 30 foot from all exterior property lines, and towers shall be set back 1 additional foot from exterior property lines for each 1 foot in height over 100 feet, which they did meet that. So it is a special, approved under special use. We had 5 property owners within the 200-foot radius that got notices sent out by mail, certified mail. We actually went on the other side of 95 to the adjoining property owners on that side as well. So that was 3 additional members that were sent out. The procedural issue that he was asking about, we had an update in our zoning ordinance that was, the most recent was in 2021, which was more recent than that. So that's the process that we followed and why we're here today.
And I'll certify to the board that the notice, the public hearing notice for tonight's public hearing was properly noticed and was published in the Roanoke Rapids Daily Herald on May the 30th, which fully complies with the county zoning ordinance.
Okay. Okay. All right, you now have your chance for rebuttal.
Yes, sir. And I apologize for all of the objections, but I need to do that for the record. I think a lot of that was did not comply with the law. A few comments too. I guess I'll start first, and the council handed me a statute that says that you guys should do this, that, or the other. But what we're working here with tonight is the Northampton County ordinance and what it requires for issuance of a special use permit for a wireless communication tower. And we've heard that it meets all the setbacks, and we've heard that you know it's going to provide all the access and everything that's needed. Your ordinance, the county ordinance, ladies and gentlemen, has no co-location requirement, meaning there's nothing in your ordinance that says because his client has extra room and wants to make more money, that a new tower can't be approved. SBA is here tonight for one reason only, and maybe it is. I spent time growing up in Pasquotank County, which isn't too far from here, and there's a lot of rural character to these counties, and I love that about the state. But make no mistake about it, they're here purely to protect their financial interest. And there is nothing in the ordinance that requires co-location, meaning that another tower can't be built or that the Verizon has to go get on their tower. There's no requirement for that. And secondly, there is no minimum distance provided by the ordinance between towers. I would point out to the commissioners that the towers he's talking about are on the other side of I-95 from the site we are proposing. I think that Mr. McKellar and Planning Director addressed the notice issues about both the Planning Board hearing and this hearing. He mentioned a buffer issue. When I read the statute for special uses for these kind of towers in the AR district, it didn't mention anything about a specific buffer. Some of the other uses, like for solar panels and other things that were allowed with special use permits in that district, did have specific buffer requirements. What I would say is that if there are specific buffer requirements in the ordinance, that the applicant will comply with those. But what we're here tonight to do, right, is to establish the use. We've still got to comply with the requirements, still got to work with staff, still have to get the building permits. So the question before this board tonight, and the only evidence that was competent material and substantial has been from the applicant, that and also from the planning staff, that this complies, it's allowed in AR with the special use permit, that it complies with all the setbacks and requirements. And, we would object, again, I know I've mentioned it, to council's testimony about other issues that I think are outside of the scope or that he cannot necessarily comment on. And again, I would just say to the court that under, not the court, excuse me, the commission, that under the ordinance, there is no co-location requirement. There is no minimum distance. We're on the other side of I-95. You've heard testimony tonight that it's not going to have any impact in values. And I think his statement that it's going to alter the landscape is the exact definition of what is not competent material and substantial evidence, is just his opinion and speculation trying to preserve his client's financial interest. I think there were a couple of questions that Mr. Harding asked. What kind of tower?
Could y'all keep it down over there?
Mr. Harding, it's going to be a wireless communication tower. Mrs. Ward, I think, asked who it would benefit. And if it please the commission, I'm just going to have Mr. Dahl step up very quickly and speak about the coverage area and what service, who it would provide, and what the area would be for that. And I believe that was most of the questions that were raised by Mr. Harding and Ms. Ward. This is Eric Dahl.
Good evening, Board. Eric Dahl, Project Manager for the applicants. This tower is being built specifically for Verizon Wireless. So coverage from this tower will be for Verizon Wireless's customers. A tower of this height and with this the topography of the area can cover anywhere from a 3 to 5 mile radius, sometimes bigger than that. But this is for Verizon's customers, this tower. And it will be built to accommodate 2 additional carriers as well. Just want to add that.
So specific. Can we ask questions right now?
Yes, yes.
So, Mr. Dahl, so you said specifically for Verizon customers only, is that correct?
This tower is being built for Verizon Wireless, correct?
So is there any consideration that why that Verizon
I know he commented it could accommodate 2 additional customers. Do you have any additional customers in line? Excuse me, could people keep it down out there in the audience?
I have lost my presentation. Corey, thank you. Thanks, Corey. He's listening back there. Okay, so may it please the commission, sorry, I'm trying to find my notes here. Last few slides I want to share with you are the requirements in your ordinance to issue a special use permit for this tower in the AR district. And just wanted to read over them quickly with you. And I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides because what we do is break it down. Corey, is there a way to get the toolbar off of the bottom of the screen? Thank you. So, and I'm pulling these directly from your special use provisions of the statute. One of the first of 6 conditions is all application-specific conditions pertaining to proposed use will be satisfied, and point out that it's permitted in the AR district with self-approval. It complies with setback and specific standards. As we said already, will comply with all FAA standards, and we will also comply in all respects with the ordinance to the extent the use is approved and the construction moves forward. Sorry. Sorry, trying to move.
It's not.
Corey, I can't move the presentation forward. Oops. Did that wrong. I apologize, folks. Let me see if we can handle this another way. Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can move it now. Okay, great. I know. Thank you, Corey. Second special use permit factor, access roads or entrance and exit drives will be sufficient in size and properly located to ensure automotive and pedestrian safety, traffic flow control in case of fire or other emergency. As we presented earlier, there will be a 20-foot gravel access drive. This is going to be an unmanned facility. The only trips out there will likely be monthly for maintenance purposes, and so the access provided will be absolutely ample for that. As we said earlier, the road will be built to any specs or requirements required to support the load of emergency vehicles. The next criteria in the statute deals with off-street parking, loading, refuse, and other service areas are located so as to be safe, to minimize glare, odor, and other impacts on adjoining properties. As we mentioned, this is an unmanned passive facility. There will be no parking or loading areas needed. There's no refuse or service, trash service, anything like that. There will be no impacts from noise, glare, or odor. And we believe no effect on the surrounding properties, either from a valuation standpoint or a noise, glare, or odor standpoint. used by the general public, and there will be access as needed in the event fire or law enforcement need to access the site. Buffering, we talked about earlier. I don't think there was anything specific we saw in the statute about buffering, but if staff says there is, we will comply with whatever is required by the statute on buffers. Again, I would point out that one side of the property abuts I-95. The last criteria, number 6, is the type, size, and intensity of the use, including hours of operation. People likely to utilize will not have significant adverse impacts on adjoining properties or the neighborhood. If we have an unmanned facility, no employees going on and off site, minimal visits for maintenance, and you've heard material and competent, substantial evidence from a North Carolina certified appraiser that there will be no adverse impact on the property value of adjoining properties. The board has been presented with no evidence to the contrary of that tonight. In closing, in our presentation, I would thank the commissioners for their time, thank Mr. McKellar for the legal portion of it. And again, we're in compliance with the ordinance. Planning and staff has said that. The ordinance allows the tower to be located with a special use permit. We meet the setback requirements. There's no traffic issues. There's no noise issues. Doesn't create crowding with schools. It's an unmanned facility. And the ordinance does not require, as it's currently written, co-location of any towers, or co-location meaning that Verizon has to go on an existing tower. And we believe that SBA was here tonight solely to protect its own interests and that of T-Mobile, whose antenna is on its tower. We believe we complied with the requirements of the ordinance. Staff has said so as well. The planning board agreed. And we would respectfully request that the commission move to approve the application and issue the special use permit. Again, this hearing is just to establish the use. It will still have to go through the permitting process, design process. It will have to be worked through with staff. So tonight is to establish whether this is a special use permitted by statute. All the evidence says that it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do any commissioners have any further questions?
No, just the
No,
applicant.
just the
gets
applicant. The applicant is the only rebuttal. Yeah, this is not according to the documents I have. There's no additional rebuttal. No. Yeah, that would be rebuttal. Right. Okay. If you want to ask a question. Okay. He has one question for you.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Bowen, correct? Yes, sir. So in your statement, you stated that your 3 reasons were co-location, notice issue, and state statute, correct?
In the buffer zone, which I believe is different from the setback under the zone.
Okay, buffer zone. Okay, I just want for clarity on that. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. That's it.
All you got me.
Do it?
All you got me.
No.
No, that's all. Okay. All right. That now closes the evidentiary record. I will ask the county attorney to briefly summarize the legal standards the board must apply in reaching our decision.
Thank you, Chair. I would remind the board that what controls here and what the board should be focused on is its zoning ordinance, again, to protect the board. And again, there are 6 factors that the board must consider and find in its decision. Those factors were addressed by Mr. Ray. And those factors, if you have your handout, they're number 1 through 6. I'm happy to read those again, or you can refer to them. But again, the required findings are that all application-specific conditions pertaining to the proposed use have been or will be satisfied. Number 2, access roads or entrance and exit drives are or will be sufficient in size and properly located to ensure automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire or other emergency. Number 3, off-street parking, loading, refuse, and other service areas are located so as to be safe, convenient, and allow for access in case of emergency, and to minimize economic glare, odor, or other impacts on adjoining properties in the general neighborhood. Number 4, utilities, schools, fire, law enforcement, and other necessary public and private facilities and services will be adequate to handle the proposed use. Number 5, the location and arrangement of the use on the site, screening, buffering, landscaping, and other features harmonize with adjoining properties and the general area and minimize adverse impact. And finally, number 6, the type, size, and intensity of the proposed use, including such considerations as the hours in operation and number of people who are likely to utilize or be attracted to the use, will not have significant adverse impacts on adjoining properties or the neighborhood. Again, this public hearing is properly noticed under your zoning ordinance. It received a favorable recommendation from your planning board. Attached in your packet, board members, as you deliberate, is a proposed motion to either approve or to deny the application. In addition, your zoning ordinance does afford the board, if it needs more time to consider the matter, I believe 35 days from tonight to issue a final decision. I'm happy to answer any questions.
In my understanding, based on these 2 options for the motions, if you motion to deny, you have to have a specific that it does not meet one or more of these 6 things.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. All right, what are the wishes of the board?
Mr. Callison, so listen, where we are is, so I've heard the word co-location. And so when the planning board received this request, so one is Verizon, one is T-Mobile, correct?
Correct. So on the application, all it said was communications tower. We don't get into
Understood. Oh, it's communications tower, I use that term. So before this application was submitted, was there any conversation about co-location?
The only thing that came up was when, Kim understand, he did take an objection to.
Bowen, is that?
He did take an objection to it at the planning board meeting.
Okay.
But that was the same kind of presentation.
Any other questions for Jason?
Mr. Jason, how long has this how long have you been sitting on this information? How long has it, when did they come to you with this?
First of April, I believe, when we had to get through the process of just sending out ordinance, setting up a special hearing with our attorney and that's what is in
Okay.
This was done in public meetings at the planning board, correct? Yeah, so this has not been behind closed doors or anything. Yeah.
No, I wasn't trying to infer that. I was just saying, I wasn't trying to infer that. I was just saying that April, May, June, so 3 months.
Take a little while to get the public hearing part set up.
Okay.
So I see the planning board has approved it.
And this is just an approval for a review. So there's still a process for design, zoning permits, getting permits, all that kind of stuff going forward. So that would address any buffering issue, access road, and all that. So that is all, if approved, part of that process. This is just to establish whether or not.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we will accept the request for a special use permit.
Do we have a second?
I'm sorry, I have to interject.
Okay,
The motion can't be that simple.
okay,
You have to follow the template
okay,
to protect this board and the
okay,
decision.
right there.
In your materials, and I'm sorry.
No, you keeping the fleet.
Yeah, that
I don't want this to be
second to the
revisited
last
one way or the
page,
other.
yeah. Does that entire script have to be read?
Yeah, I mean, there is a component, if there are no conditions at the bottom, there's a final paragraph that can be omitted.
Okay, all right. You want to make that motion? Got to read all that 1 through 6.
Well, I think you can reference that the 6 conditions previously
Okay,
highlighted
all
have
right.
been met after reading the first.
Read the
paragraph.
first part and then just reference the 6 conditions that,
I move the Board of Commissioners approve the special use permit application submitted by Harmony Towers Gateway LLC upon finding that the applicant has demonstrated by compliant material and substantial evidence in the record that the 6
previously mentioned conditions
previous conditions
have been met.
have been met.
Do we have a second? Any second? We do not require a second, though, is that correct?
Second is recommended but not required under this board's procedures.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just feel like I just ate a whole cow right now. Appreciate all the good information, gentlemen. And when you look at this, but Mr. Chairman, I can't really make a conscientious decision off of what was presented this evening. I appreciate both councils. And I mean, because when you're talking about making a decision of this magnitude, I just think more information, I guess Mr. McAllister need more information prior to. I know Mr. Bowen had said court, and I felt like I'm just leaving court, which really we are, because I have 2 attorneys talking to us, one for, one against. But for me, Mr. Chairman, it just seems that this needs to be more time given. And is the window 35 days, Mr. McKellar? Is that the window that we have?
Yes.
Okay. It would be, and I know we're in discussion phase, but it would be my discussion that we table this to get more information so that we can, on my part, make a better conscientious decision. Because I'm not able to do that this evening.
Dr. Edwards and the commissioners and Mr. McKellar, so what type of information is needed? Are we talking about coming back for another hearing?
The hearing's closed.
Okay. Okay, but I guess the record is set on the hearing, right, on what we presented and the
That's correct. And
administrative
the ordinance
materials.
gives the board 35 days from the
Understood.
closure of the evidence to make a decision.
Okay, so the record will not be expanded. They just have some time to consider their
Think
decision.
about it.
Correct.
Okay,
Well, there's a motion on the floor,
do we have to
Commissioner,
vote
so
or can he withdraw?
he can withdraw,
Okay,
or you can proceed with a vote.
would you like to withdraw your motion and then,
I'll withdraw the motion.
okay? Say, do we have a motion to table then? And to what?
Yeah, I have to agree with tabling it, because as I was listening, I just got a couple of questions that I definitely need more clarity on, because I know we have a tower that's already existing and it has the ability to take on more servers. And then I know the planning board was, for putting up this new tower. And I guess bottom line, one of my main concerns is whatever we're gonna do, I just wanna make sure that service is better for citizens. So whether they're on T-Mobile, whether on Verizon, it would make me feel a lot better on the drive home to not get an airplane SOS signal on my phone on the drive home. So I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to table it as well so that we can, be able to get more understanding, because to Dr. Edwards' point, there was a lot trying to take in both sides on this evening. So, that's what it is for me. It's just needing more time to review things and to make the best decision, so.
So, Mr. McKellar, if the motion was withdrawn, where does that leave us?
We'll,
If you'll just sit tight, there's going to be a motion to table, I would anticipate.
Right, sir.
all right. Do we have a motion to table?
And just a reminder, when a motion is made to table,
With a
it must
date.
be made to a date certain.
Right, with a date to re-examine it.
Dr. Edwards, you
Yes,
did
sir.
say you were looking for some more information. Do you have a list of something you want? me
No,
to work on?
The evidence is closed, so the
Evidence is
board has to
closed.
consider what has already been presented.
Make sure
We
I
can't
leave everything
open
on
that
my
back
side.
up.
Good deal.
Right.
So the goal, I'm protecting this board, the evidence has been presented, and
And so-
they can certainly consider what has already been
Making
presented.
sure there's nothing else needed out of me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. McCallum.
So we
And
have,
so, Mr. Chairman, when you look at the dates that we meet next, we meet on the first and third Monday,
Right.
correct? The next time we meet will be the 6th, July,
the 8th.
I'm sorry,
We meet the 8th and the 20th.
the 8th and the 20th, that's right, the
Both
8th.
of those dates within 35 days. I don't think. Third, what's the date?
The date is the 15th, so both of these dates are within 35 days.
Yeah. Okay, so we can choose, is that correct?
Mr. McCallum?
Scott, is that correct? That either July meeting would fall within the 35 days?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So we just need a motion for one of those dates. Have the 8th or the 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table this,
Special use permit.
yes, the special use permit until the July the 20th.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying
20th.
aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We'll reconvene this matter on the 20th. All right. We'll now go back into our regular session and go to item 10 on the agenda, tax matters. Oh, excuse me, did I miss? Oh, excuse me, Health Department. I'm all out of whack tonight. Health Department, you know what I'm doing, Meg.
Good
You
evening,
know I don't.
Commissioners and citizens. I come to you tonight with 3 different items. The first in your packet is our Health Department environmental health rates for the 26-27 fiscal year. Each year, the Health Department's Billing Committee gets together and researches and individually analyzes current used environmental health rates and compares them to fees of neighboring counties. And this year, we met on May the 6th, and we took our rates to the Board of Health on May the 12th. They were approved at that meeting, and this year there are no changes in the environmental health rates.
Okay, do you want to address these one at a time?
Is
Okay,
whatever.
all right. We have a motion to approve the health rates. Say there was no change.
Correct.
Okay,
We doing one at a time, Mr. Chairman?
yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the Northampton County environmental health rates for 26-27.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Barnex Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion's carried. All right, next item.
The next item is our clinical fees and our LabCorp contracted fees. We also met on May 6th for this, and we are entitled to reimbursement rates based upon a cost report that reflects results conducive to the regulations set forth by NCDHHS, Division of Health Benefits, and we met on May the 6th, and we also took into consideration the physician's fee schedule. We also looked at all of our CPT codes line by line. We looked at area providers, CPT codes and reimbursement rates, and we also looked at our Medicaid reimbursement rates. And we did make some of a few minor changes because you have to at least charge your patients what the Medicaid reimbursement rate is or higher. So we also looked at that and our private insurance reimbursement rates. So you will see all of these rates listed as well as our contracted LabCorp fees. These were also approved by the Board of Health on May the 12th.
Do I have a motion to approve the health department rates for fiscal year 26-27?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the health department rates for the fiscal year 26-27.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Barnex Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. All right.
The last item that I bring to you is an information paper regarding our local child fatality prevention team report for fiscal year 25-26. And the purpose of this information paper is to provide the Board of Commissioners with an annual local child fatality prevention team report as required by General Statutes Guidelines, Article 14, 7B-1406. The State Office of Child Fatality Prevention within the Division of Public Health coordinates the state's child death review systems to prevent child abuse, neglect, and fatalities. It supports local multidisciplinary teams, standardizes data collection, identifies service gaps, and drives policy recommendations to promote child safety and well-being. So in the review calendar year of 2025, there were 2 deaths that we went over and reviewed within our local team. And in that, there were no systematic gaps, deficiencies, or needed improvements, but there were also various resources for children that were shared by and with local team members, and that also include Care Management for High-Risk Pregnancies Program, WIC, breastfeeding counselors, CADA, Catch My Breath program, car seat program, Reach Out and Read program, child wellness visits, primary care, immunizations, kindergarten/sports camp physicals, CPR and Narcan training, foster and adoptive parent training, and Smart Start program.
Anyone have any questions? This is just for information, correct?
Yes, we are mandated to bring this in front of both boards
That's not an
each year.
questions for Ms. Vick?
Sir.
All right. If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vick.
All right, now tax department matters. Get it right one of these days.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am before you to obtain the board's approval for 5 appeals, ad valorem appeals, in the amount of $1,179.39. I am also before you to obtain the board's approval for 4 motor vehicle appeals in the amount of $824.48. These are action items.
All right, got to get a motion for these, approval of these appeals.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the appeals in the amount of $1,179.39 for ad valorem tax appeals and the amount of $824.48 for motor vehicles.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, now we have economic development matters.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Before you tonight is an amended proposal for geotechnologies for the Northampton County Commerce Park. The board at the last meeting approved the soil borings, which was $15,000 for our due diligence studies. After that, we agreed, or the board approved the option to purchase the 80-acre tract on Lebanon Church Road. That 80-acre tract was not included in the initial proposal, so we are requesting the board amend the agreement to include 6 additional borings. That brings our total cost to $17,480, which we have budgeted funds for. So just an amendment to increase the scope to include the 80 acres, which will cost an additional $2,480.
Anyone got any questions? This is just so we can do our due diligence on that property that we're considering purchasing rather than
Correct.
possibly purchase it and find out there's something wrong.
And if we don't do it at the same time as the original proposal, it will cost us
a lot
more to
more.
do it separately.
Good point. All right. Anyone have any questions regarding it? If not, could we get a motion to approve this amended agreement?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the amended agreement.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Okay, motion is carried 4-1. Okay.
Okay, and then lastly, Mr. Chairman, I have, since this is the second time, I believe, questions were brought up regarding Project Opal during public comments. Would you like for me to answer those?
If you could, that
Sure.
would be fine.
So the first question was, is there a plan in place with Halifax Community College? So there are 2 pieces to answer that question. The first one is, yes, there is a plan. We've had conversations, commissioners, with Dr. Elliott as well as Mr. Willis, and we are standing up a cohort with not just Lindy, but also our existing companies to hopefully train potential candidates, soft and hard skills, to be qualified for these types of jobs. So that is in the works and has been in the works for several months now. Any questions on that? Do I answer that or?
If you like to.
Sure. Yes, we can show you that. Yep. Sure.
All right.
Okay. And the next question that I wrote down was, how are the few tax dollars to be used? That's really not a question that I can answer. That's really, I guess, more so of a budget question. I will comment that I don't believe it to be a few tax dollars, but EDC wouldn't answer what happens with taxpayer dollars. The third question is, what is the protocol for the old high school? And what will the county do with that? We are in discussions, as we've discussed, with exploring the idea of a regional wide.
No, I just wanted to interject, Ms. Vincent. I mean, I responded. You'll check your email, the protocol in the high school. You have a response, and on the solar farm. Yes, ma'am. But on the high school, just for the record, before the eventual proposed use, when former school buildings that are no longer in use are deemed surplus property, which the Board of Education has deemed, once the current high school closes, it will be surplus, then the county, the Board of Commissioners, has what's called the right of first refusal to purchase the property or to acquire the property back from the Board of Education. And in May, I don't recall, I sent you a copy of the letter. It's been a few days ago. This is recent. All right, well, if you can allow me to finish. Copy of that letter was emailed to you and will be emailed again. But in May, I don't remember the date off the top of my head, the board indicated by letter to the Board of Education its intent to exercise that right of first refusal if acceptable terms can be reached. And so that's where it stands from a legal standpoint. And Derek, I'm sorry, I'll be quiet now.
No, great. I would have missed that. And while there could be several uses for that building, we are exploring the idea, as you all know, of a regional YMCA. I will announce now that we did receive funding, which was great news, to complete the feasibility study. So that will be done at no cost to the county, which is a great $25,000 grant to explore whether or not a YMCA facility will sustain in our area. And the last question that I wrote down was posts for solar farms on Lebanon Church Road and a noise ordinance. I wouldn't be able to answer those questions. That would come from planning and zoning. So,
Okay. All right.
does that help the board?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, Finance Department.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
The first item I have tonight is Budget Amendment Number 14. The first group of numbers, we are trying to update our salaries to reflect an adjustment needed to implement our time and attendance system. We are going to be transferring those funds within department, so there's no increase in fund balance appropriation. And then also there's medical examiner fees. As you recall, at the last month's monthly financial report, we were showing medical examiner fees at 400%. We are doing this budget amendment to adjust those fees to cover the remainder of the fiscal year.
Anyone have any questions?
Yes.
I have a question. There was I don't know this, on the governing body, it has an increase here on numbers like 1,400. What does that mean?
So we're having to do an adjustment for our time and attendance. We're trying to get the county, all county employees in the hold so that our time and attendance software will work with the county. Currently, we are being paid to date, and so the problem that lies with that is we have to wire a payroll for our employees 3 to 4 days prior to the pay date. And so if an employee leaves or is, say they give their 2 weeks notice and they don't serve out that full 2 weeks notice, then the county has already paid that employee and they might not work those last 4 days. And so that causes an issue with overpayment. And so we are trying to get the county in a place where employees are going to be 1 week in the hold.
Your question was that number, that's the account number, the 114, 110?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Each department has their own account number, so it
Correct.
has to be to comply with your accounting practices, so when we get audited, everything will be correct. You've got to assign it to each department.
That's correct. So as you can see on the budget ordinance that we just passed tonight, we have a fund and an amount for every single department, and it's divvied out on the department level. So in order to correct these, we have to increase each departmental line that has an employee's pay.
Okay, for example, I'm looking at finance has $9,873.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, because let me tell you why I'm asking it like that. Because see, when I first saw it, I'm seeing like to myself now, why they got more money than everybody else? See, that's the first thing I didn't know. Because
Yes,
I was saying to myself now, why they so much higher than everybody else?
Right, because we
And
have
it-
more
and-
employees in our office than the governing body and admin. And if you scroll down, you can see those very large departments, like our sheriff's department, theirs is 48,000. And you keep going down, it depends on how many employees are in that department, on how high that number is.
Then just the governing body has 1,445. Yeah, I see. The disparate, yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? Not, can we get a motion to approve the budget amendment?
Move to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, Ron X. Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried.
Okay, the next item I have is the monthly financial report for April of 2026. If you will go to page 2, this is the county's revenues as of the end of April. We are trending 1% higher than we were last year at this time at 83.9%. If you go to page 3, these are our collected taxes as of April 30th. Our total collected taxes are 24.4 million, and the 24.4 million is comprised of 23.3 million in current year collections and 1.1 million in prior year collections. Our current year calculations or collections equate to 94.7% of the total tax levy. If you go over to page 4 and page 5, we expect our expenses to be around 84% at this time in the fiscal year. And so if you scroll over to, if you look at the bottom of page 4, you can see medical examiner, that's still at 461%. I just corrected that on that budget amendment, so the next monthly financial report, you will see that should be right below 100%. And on the next page are other departments. Again, our contributions, yearly contributions to outside agencies are gonna be shown at 100% because we pay those all in a lump sum. Overall, our expenses are below the 84% at 75%. And on page 6, Exhibit 4, our enterprise fund, which is our water department, our revenues are over expenditures by $436,000. Our Garysburg Water and Sewer District, that is the one that we keep talking about every month that we are closely evaluating and monitoring. Currently, their revenues are under expenses by $30,000. We are anticipating, we're hoping that we will have enough revenues to cover our expenses for the year, but it is a high possibility that we will have to transfer some funds from Enterprise, Fund 61 in Exhibit 4 to cover those expenses so that we don't have an audit finding because of the water meter issue. And we have also, just to let you know, we have also talked to the auditor and to USDA. I think a long time ago when we originally got some funding for those two enterprise funds, we had those funds separated out by district because of the funding, the grant funding that we received. And we have spoke to USDA and our auditors, and we are working on combining those two because they are all the county's water system, and they don't necessarily have to be broken out by district. I think we have an issue with Gettysburg Water and Sewer, because it is mostly sewer customers in that district, our expenses are a lot higher, and we don't bring in as much revenue for that. So we kind of struggle every year for that. So combining those two into one fund would be a lot more beneficial for the county. Exhibit 6 is our solid waste fund. Our revenues are over expenditures by $408,000. If you go over to page 8, Exhibit 8A is our operating cash balances. Our operating cash balance for April 30th is $6.2 million. And on the last page of the report is our North Carolina Capital Management Trust, which holds a balance of $31.7 million. Does anyone have any additional questions?
Any questions? If not, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right. We now have county manager and board comments.
Good evening again, everyone. I just have a couple of things I wanted to report on, 3 good things. On June 9th, we had a hearing with the LGC, and they approved the New Market Tax Credit ground lease. That's the lease between the school and the county. And then on June 11th, the New Market Tax Credit grant closed. So we have come a long way with that. I guess you want to say the money's in the bank, and the county doesn't have to worry about that. It was, I believe, $4.2 million.
That's right.
So for lack of a better term, we're off the hook,
Excellent.
which is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We got grant monies in to cover those additional costs that we needed to complete the new high school. One other thing, Ms. Leslie did not mention, but it's a great thing. Our fiscal 26 audit is on the way. So that's a big deal. I'm just an old accounting geek, and when we can get stuff like that started in advance, that means a lot to me. So we want to keep that momentum going and close it out before the due date. I believe we can do it. That's all I have for tonight. Again, thank to everyone for coming out and expressing your opinion, your concerns for the county. I appreciate you all, and get home safely, and see you on the next time. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Commissioner Broadnax Taylor.
Just like to wish everybody good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Had some wonderful events in the county last week that I attended. Celebrated Rural Health Group 50th year anniversary. Celebrated them being in our county, throughout the state, different locations. They started with 1, now they have 21. Had the opportunity, I was honored to receive the Founders Award on behalf of my father, who served on that board for 45 years. Also attended Juneteenth, a celebration there in Gettysburg on Saturday. That was lovely. Saw Mr. Freddie, ate a belly full of barbecue, hadn't had pork in a year. Don't know why I didn't fall out. Glad I didn't, but that was mighty good. Just so glad and so proud of Northampton County citizens coming together. And that was wonderful. So again, thank you all. And remember that things don't happen, but together in Northampton County, we make them happen. So have a safe trip home.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Just like to say good evening to everyone, and thankful to all of the citizens for coming out on tonight and sharing your thoughts and concerns as always. Also, thank you to staff for the information that you provide. And again, just We are very appreciative of all the wonderful things that are going on across Northampton County, and I hope that everyone have a wonderful and safe evening. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I'd like to thank you for your comments. I'd like to thank the staff for all this hard work that they go through to give us this type of information. And I hope that everyone has a safe trip home.
Vice Chair?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for everyone for coming out. Had opportunity to go to Juneteenth in Gettysburg, also wonderful event. We thank the Gettysburg Volunteer Public Library for putting that event on. I think it's the 19th year, and they did a magnificent job. Had opportunity to attend Advocacy Days in Raleigh, with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, where spoke with Representative Rodney Pierce about different things that's happening in the legislation. And also, I want to take the opportunity to just say an appreciation to, again, all the employees, but I received communication for our Public Works Department in the form of a citizens because they helped an elderly man with their water situation. So kudos to the Public Works Department. There was a massive leak, and they found the leak, and now he's not being charged for that water. And also, just an announcement, thank you. The Juneteenth celebration continues. It will be honoring the freedom and heritage on the Juneteenth celebration at the Lake Gaston Community Center, located at 564 North Carolina 46 Highway, Gaston, North Carolina. That event will take place this Friday, June 19th. Northampton County High School Band will be playing at 5 p.m., and the program begins at 6 p.m. at the Lake Gaston Community Center this Friday.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and mention one thing. There's been a lot of talk about data centers. There is currently in the state legislature a data center bill that I would encourage you to contact your representatives to express your opinions. They are calling for some regulations that would limit, require the cost for electrical infrastructure to be borne by the data center, would require recycling water and some other things. So that's something, you might want to look into. I'd also like to remind everybody, July 4th, we won't be meeting again between now and then, but they are having a really big celebration this year for the 250th. It starts at 5 o'clock out at the Wellness Center. There will be all kinds of gift bags and stuff for the people that attend, so I would encourage you to come out and enjoy that event. And thank you all for coming tonight, and now we will adjourn to closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A6 personnel.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. We're now going to closed session.